My sister just did the ultimate betrayal, and you might be thinking, oh, she must have cheated on somebody, someone that I'm close to, like my husband. Well, you know what? This time you're wrong. She didn't do that. She did something so much more devastating. Let me read you the title. Sister faked a pregnancy test to get the house that I was going to get. And when I tell you how she pulled this off, well, you might think she's a mastermind. I know I'm not doing anything wrong, but my sister is making me feel like I'm the worst person on the planet. She's trying her best to emotionally blackmail me into doing what she wants, and I'm sitting here feeling bad about my decision. Since my fiance is not being of much help, I decided that it might be a good idea to ask you guys, but my fiance says that I might regret it, because the internet is famously not great at making decisions, as he believes most of the people here just want to watch the world burn. Well, I guess we'll find out. Let me provide a few contexts so that you can understand the position I find myself in. My name's Leia, 30, female. I grew up hating my older sister Sophie. I wish that we could have been loving sisters, because I would have loved to have a good older sister like my friends had. But I got Sophie, who didn't really care about me. If I go into full detail, I'll have to write a pretty boring book, so I'll keep it as brief as possible. When we were younger, our parents used to earn well. I mean, I'm not saying we were rich, but at the same time, we never really had to struggle. Although, thinking back, I do feel that both my parents preferred Sophie over me, but that didn't really mean they treated me differently. Obviously, I was the younger child, but Sophie did get a bit more love. Maybe it had to do with the problem they faced, as from what I've heard, Sophie happened after they had tried for over a year and had simply lost hope. My parents treated me well, and I'm very thankful for everything they've done for me, literally no complaints. But they did spoil Sophie a little too much, and they didn't listen to my complaints about her not treating me like a sister and more like an assistant. I mean, they listened, but they did not believe me, since early on Sophie has been way too good at emotional manipulation and lying, and obviously she had a heart of stone for anyone other than our parents. I sometimes wish I was included in her list of people to love too, because she got me in a lot of trouble for no reason because of how she treated me. By the time I was in high school, I fully hated her. I didn't want to, but that's what she deserved. She was a demon of a sister and made my life so much worse for no reason. As I said, I'm not going to go much into detail, but she's impossible to live with. Thankfully for me, she left the state for college, and life became so much more pleasant. The day after she left, I felt like the pollution in my city decreased 50%. Birds started to chirp, and it felt like the truly evil had been defeated. But as I found out, true evil never goes away, as she kept visiting as much as she could. Then I got to leave for college, and I opted to go in the complete opposite direction of where she had gone. I wanted to be as far away from her as I could be, so that I never would have to run into her unexpectedly. Then life got a little better, and I rarely visited home when she was around. I focused on my studies, while I guess she got busy partying because she barely passed. After we both got good enough jobs, our parents told us that they would stop fully supporting us and would only help us when we were in need, and gave us both a little money they had saved for us. Also, Dad said that they had one last thing for us. Now, this is very important, so please pay attention. Before we moved into our new home, we used to live in a smaller house, which was the place where both Sophie and I grew up. But since it was toward the end of the city, our parents opted to shift into a bigger and more modern place. That home always remained a special place for all of us. Well, Dad said that he was going to split the home between us after we got married, and we could do whatever we wanted with it. At that point, marriage was just such a faraway thing for me. I didn't even think about the house, but I did think once or twice about keeping the house and living there. A year later, I started earning well, but Sophie never really progressed much, as she didn't believe in working hard. I think she just spent more money than she earned. I know all this because she constantly asked our parents for money, and they helped from time to time. Our parents wanted to retire, and a few years later I helped them, and I can't describe the feeling. Currently, they travel as much as they can and are enjoying the rest of their lives together. I can truthfully say that they're living the dream that I want to have someday. So, about 2 years ago, my sister got married to a guy our parents didn't want her to marry. I don't really know what the problem they had with him was, because I did not witness any of the drama that happened, but I heard that they disliked him and asked Sophie not to get married. Well, she still did, and they were angry, but after a few months they forgave her, so I don't think it was that bad. I did go to their wedding, and our parents did not attend, as they were still mad at that point. A few years after I started working, Sophie started to warm up a bit. Not so much that I forgave everything she did, but enough for us to have a casual relationship. After our parents forgave her, they offered her half of the home, but Sophie chose to take money instead of it. She said that she had no use for half a home, and since she couldn't share it, she didn't want it. She took money instead of her half, and even though I told her that she could live there if she wanted to, she did not want the house. Remember this. She chose not to own even a small part of the house, and our parents paid her for her half. At that point, I was in a pretty serious relationship with my boyfriend Will, who is my fiancé now. Since my sister did not take the home, I decided that in the future, when I would get married and get the house, I would live there instead of selling it or taking the money. The house was full of lots of memories for me, and I wanted to start my new life there, as it would be the perfect place. At least, that was the plan, but I didn't think much about it, as I was not sure when it was going to happen. So, fast forward a month ago, Will out of nowhere proposed to me. As I mentioned already, my parents are retired and traveling, so they had to fly in from Germany to make an engagement party. Well, obviously my sister and her husband Andrew were invited too. But at this point, I'm regretting that decision. The party was going well, and everyone I cared about showed up. I was very happy with both the engagement and the party, and Sophie did not really cause any problems. She was genuinely happy for me, and I was happy to see that. But during the party, our parents made an announcement that kind of put me in this position. So my parents gave a short speech and announced that, just like they said all those years ago, they would be giving me and my future husband my childhood home. They said that I could do whatever I wanted with it, and that it was ours after we got married. One of the relatives asked my parents why I would be getting the full house, while my sister got paid for half of it. Dad then explained to everyone that they had intended to give both of us half of the value respectively, but I had helped them retire, and they knew the value of the house and what it held for me, so they wanted me to keep it. Well, this made me really emotional, and I thanked them. But it turns out Sophie was not happy with all this, and during the party she found out that, because the area around the house had gotten a lot better, the price of the property had shot up drastically. So she researched everything, and a week later, which was 2 days ago, came to talk to me. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but the childhood home is almost twice as valuable as it was before. Its value has really grown, and I guess that's why people buy property. But I had no interest in it, as I was never planning on selling it. But my sister had come to me with other plans. She told me that she needed my help. Apparently her husband lost his job, but had not told anyone, and they're not doing well financially. She told me that she could not go to our parents for help, and that this was something only I could do to help her with. She then told me that after getting the home, I should sell it, and give her 40% of the money, as even though she gave up the house, she deserves a piece of the profit. She said that this would solve all her problems, and I would still get a huge amount of money. Well, I then apologized to her and told her that I could not do that, as I was planning on staying there and starting a family. She then told me I could do that in a great rented apartment too. When I tried to explain that she had already taken her piece of the pie and needed to let me do whatever I wanted with mine, she starts calling me selfish and a bad sister. She said that she really needed it and begged me for help, but when I stayed firm in my decision, she calls me greedy and left. Since then, she's been constantly blackmailing me and making me feel like I'm ruining her life on purpose. But I've not changed my decision. So I want you guys to tell me, is it really wrong or selfish or greedy to not sell my childhood home just to help out my sister? Update 1. A few weeks have passed. Hey, I want to thank each and every one of you who tried to give me advice. Your help is really appreciated. A lot of things have happened, so let me just jump into it without wasting anyone's time. I wasn't expecting it, but I saw quite a few of you guys telling me that my sister is right, and I'm being greedy or selfish by not helping her. Well, firstly, she has no right to ask me for help. Just because I actively don't hate her anymore does not mean I really care about her either. She's still the same person because of whom I wanted to run away as a teenager. She made my life hell and would have continued to if I had not left her sight. Just because she has gotten a bit nicer does not mean that I need to jump on the opportunity to be of some help. The only reason I was doubting my decision was because I believed she and Andrew were in a lot of trouble, and I felt bad that I was choosing not to help them. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I don't have any obligation to help her or her husband. We've never really been close in any way, shape, or form, and I only invited them to my party because they invited me to their wedding. Plus, if I was taking money away from her, then I would accept that my decision was wrong, but I'm not. She decided to let the house go, and it was more or less my luck that its value just increased. But I'm not going to sell it, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, a few days after my post, I was convinced that I wasn't doing anything wrong and that my sister had no right to call me selfish while she constantly took money from our parents and spent it without thinking. I was the one who helped them get retired. I worked hard for this, and there's no reason for me to do what she wants. Okay, now let me tell you something really interesting. So even though I did decide that I was not wrong, I still felt bad, so I looked into Sophie's financial condition. Imagine how surprised I was to find that her husband was still working the same job and had not been kicked out. It didn't look like they were financially struggling, but that was not the case. I did some digging and asked around and found out that Sophie is actually in a lot of debt. I spoke to our relatives she would turn to for help, and some of her friends, most of whom told me that she had begged them for help over a month ago. She even had debts to settle with a few of them, and she had taken some money from them a few months ago. Her own friends told me that she never really could control her spending habits, and now was in quite a bit of debt. So that's why she's been pushing so hard for me to sell the house I'll get after marriage, which is in a few months, by the way. I knew that there was something she was hiding, but I never expected it to be this. The most interesting thing about all this is that her husband Andrew most probably does not know about it. Now I'm planning to talk to Sophie and tell her that I'm not going to help her clean up the mess that she made. Oh, and the only thing I'm not sure about is whether I should tell her husband about her debt, or if I should just back off and let him find out on his own. Wet bait 2. Hey guys, it's been a few weeks, and this is going to be a short update. Let me start with the positive news first. The preparation for my wedding is going well, and it's looking to be a very good one. Also, I'm very happy with my decision, and for anybody wondering, no, I did not tell Andrew anything, but my soon-to-be husband knows everything. For anyone still saying that I'm wrong and that I should help my sister, you're more than welcome to sell your own home and help her settle her bills. Do you know how easy it is to not overspend and cause yourself problems? She has a good life, but she's not satisfied with it and keeps spending a bunch of money she didn't have. That's not my fault, it's hers. Well, until the last update, I had not told Will what I had discovered because he was really busy and did not have time for all of this. But as soon as he became free, I spoke to him and told him everything. Just like a lot of you guys. He was really shocked that she not only put herself in debt, but then tried to lie and make me give up the house. Also, like you guys, he was against the idea of telling Andrew, Sophie's husband, anything about the debt as it was not our problem. I wasn't on the verge of telling him anything, but Will did make me believe that not saying anything to him would be the right decision. I didn't want to be in the middle of the fight that would surely happen after he found out. So I left it up to fate for him to discover what kind of wife he has. But I did visit him to check and see if he knew anything about my sister lying to me and her being in debt. If he knew even a bit, I was going to tell him everything. So I happened to run into Andrew, and we sat down for coffee. I asked him about his job and the financial condition he found himself in. And I felt bad when I found out that he had no idea and believed that they were doing quite well with money. He thought Sophie had even been saving. Well, I didn't have the guts to tell him that she had done literally the opposite of what he believed. A few days after the conversation, I spoke with Sophie and told her that I knew everything. Instead of apologizing for trying to trick me and asking for forgiveness, she starts acting like a huge weight had been lifted off her shoulders. She told me that she was happy I had discovered everything and now was going to help her. Well, I told her that she needed to help herself and that I was only there to tell her that I was not going to give her anything. I told her I was never going to sell and was never going to help her. She needed to work hard, take responsibility, and get out of this mess. She begged me, but I made it clear that I was not going to help her. And this made her mad. She starts insulting me, and I just left. I think this makes it clear that she won't show up to my wedding, but it's been over a week since we talked, and she's not even sent a text. I think she's finally going to leave me alone. Now I'm going to focus on my special day. Thank you for the help. Until next time, Wait 3. It's been a few months since my last update, and things have taken a really bad turn for me. Before the bad, let me tell you about the good. I got married, and it was perfect. I'm not going to get into much detail because that would take a while, but just know that the day was really memorable. Sophie actually came with Andrew, and I was not really expecting her to show up, but she was really nice and acted like nothing had happened. I believe that she had decided to forget all about what happened and just acted the same way with her. At that point, I had no idea that she was actually planning something. After a great wedding, we went on a week-long honeymoon that I had planned for a long time. It was a place both of us had been wanting to visit for a long time, and it was like a dream come true. A very costly dream, but still, it was worth every dollar spent. After a dreamlike honeymoon, I came back home to find myself in a nightmare because my sister had hijacked my gift. I should have known that she was planning something because of how kind she was acting toward me, but I made the mistake of believing her. The next day after I came home, my parents came to visit me and apologized. Dad said that he was not going to be able to keep his word, and it really confused me. He explained that he was giving the house to Sophie as she needed it more than me. This confused me, and for a second, I was wondering if all this was really happening, or if I was dreaming. Then Dad explained that after I went on my honeymoon, Sophie had miraculously gotten pregnant and told Dad and even her husband during a family dinner. Everybody was so shocked, as she had some fertility issues that were stopping her from getting pregnant. Dad got so happy that he asked my sister what she wanted and promised to give her anything he could. When she asked for the home, he could not say no, as he knew she would need it more with the baby on the way, and he decided to give it to her instead of me. He said that he knew I would be fine without it, and promised to give me something else in a bit of time. It made me mad, but I played it like I was happy with this decision, because I didn't want my parents to think I was mad at them. I knew that my sister was lying just to get the house, but the fact that she decided to play with our parents' emotions just tells you what kind of person she is. She's probably also playing with her husband's emotions. So I went to see her and asked her to stop this, and she played dumb and apologized for taking the home. She thinks that I'm going to let this go easily. Well, not really Wedbait 4. Hey, it's been over a month since my last update, and let me tell you everything. So, as soon as I found out that my sister got pregnant and took my home, I knew that there was something wrong with this. As soon as I found out that even her own husband did not know that she was pregnant until she announced it, I was sure she was only using this fake baby to take what was mine. I knew that she was desperate, but I did not know that she was willing to stoop so low. Obviously, she had gone to a doctor to confirm it, and as soon as I found out whom she visited, it gave me an idea. I went to the same doctor and recorded our conversation. I told the doctor that I was Sophie's sister, and that in about a week or so, she would come to visit with her husband, and she would have to act like my sister was pregnant. The doctor said that Sophie had told her that it was only a one-time thing, and that she wasn't willing to keep acting no matter how much Sophie was willing to pay her. I told her this was the last time, and made her agree before leaving with the evidence I needed. Now, while I was doing this, out of complete luck, one of my friends called me and told me that they had seen my sister drinking in a bar. I asked them to take a video, and with the confession and the video, I had more than enough proof I needed. So I arranged a family meeting with my parents, Sophie, and Andrew, and everybody arrived. I gave Sophie a chance to tell the truth about what was happening, but she refused and acted stupid. So I showed everyone the evidence I had, and it was chaos. Our parents could not believe that she had emotionally manipulated them, while her husband could not believe she had lied to him, and he was especially mad because of the debt. Andrew was the first one to leave, and my parents kicked Sophie out after she refused to explain and take accountability. All she did was curse me. So a week later, I learned that her parents cut her off completely, and they told me that the house was mine. Andrew also moved out of their house, as he could not cope with the fact that she had used all the money and lied about the pregnancy, and he moved out. Now he's considering divorcing her, which might happen in a few months. Sophie is struggling to pay her debt and will keep struggling until everything she owns gets taken. From what I've heard, she doesn't have long, honestly. I don't feel that bad about it, because she's the one who did this to herself. We're moving into our new house in a few months. And well, thank you for sticking with me.